Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will clear the short run production function, which is also known as law of variable proportion. This is very important law of economics. So let us clear this law with the help of schedule and diagram. So I am preparing 6 columns. In first column, I am writing down units of fixed factors. Number 2, units of variable factors. Number 3, ratio. In which ratio we are using these factors? Then TP, AP or MP. And last one, we will analyze the schedule, total production, average production or marginal production. And last one, stages of production. So units of variable factor, that is known as quantity Q. TP can be calculated when average production is multiplied by quantity. AP can be calculated when total production is divided by quantity. And for the calculation of MP, change in total production divided by change in quantity represents MP. So I am writing down the units of fixed factor. Fixed factor, we are taking land, and variable factor, we are taking labor. As well as units of output increases, then total production will also increases. Suppose that initially we were producing at 2 units as well as 1 labor of output was there. So the ratio between fixed or variable factor, that is 1 proportionate to 5. It means 1 fixed factor and 6 variable factors. 1 fixed factor, 7 variable factors. 2, 6, 12, 20, 26, 30, 32, 32, 30 and then 26. This increasing or diminishing order, that represents the definition of law of variable proportion. So this clears that as well as the units of output increases, as the units of variable factor increases, then total production firstly increases at an increasing rate, then it increases at a diminishing rate. And finally it starts diminishing. As well as more and more units of variable factors are increased. So this is the definition of law of variable proportion. Initially, total production increases, then it becomes constant, and ultimately it starts diminishing. And now let us calculate average production with the help of this total production. Total production divided by quantity, this is quantity, 2 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.2, 5, then 4.4, 4, 3.3, and last one is 2.6. Then marginal production. First total production 2. We will subtract every additional unit of total production from the previous unit. 6 will be deducted from 2. That would be 4. Then 12 minus 6, 20 minus 12. So in this way we can calculate 2, 4, 6, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, minus 2 and minus 4. So as well as units of marginal production denotes to change in total production. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So up to 4 units. This is the first stage of production, which is known as increasing returns to a factor. This is the second stage, which represents diminishing returns to a factor, and ultimately 0 or negative returns. This is third stage of production. First stage, second stage, third stage. And now let us convert this schedule into the diagram. I am preparing 2 panels of the diagram. In the upper panel we will clear total production. In the lower panel, average production and marginal production. Number 1, units of output. And last one is 10. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one is 10. Units of output or units of variable factor that can be taken on x-axis and on y-axis. Let us take the values of TP. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. And now let us prepare first of all total production. Total production at first unit it is 2. At second unit of output this is 6. At third unit this is 12. At fourth unit, this is 20. Fifth unit, 26. Fifth unit, 26. Sixth unit, this is 30. At seventh unit, this is 32. Eighth unit, 32. Ninth unit, 30. And last one is 28. 26. So by joining all these points, we can get total production curve. You can remove all these dotted lines so that you can obtain total production curve. This is TP, total production curve. And then for AP and MP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At first unit of output, AP is 2. At second unit, it is 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second unit पे 3. At third unit, it is 4. At fourth unit, it is 5. Fifth unit पे 5.2. At sixth unit, again 5. Seventh unit, 4.4. At eighth unit, this is 4, then 3.3, and last one is 2.6. Average production. Then let us draw marginal production. Marginal production at first unit of output 2, then 4, 6, 8. First unit of output 2, then 4, then 6 and 8. Maximum at fourth unit of output, then 6, 4, 2, 0. At fifth unit, this is 6. At sixth unit, this is 4. Seventh unit, 2. Eighth unit, 0. And let us take negative values also. 1, 2, 3, 4. At ninth unit, this is -2. 10th unit, -4. And while joining all these points, we can obtain MP, marginal production curve. So the marginal production curve, this is maximum at fourth unit of output. So we have prepared, this is first stage of production. Then where MP is 0, that is the 8th unit of output, here TP is maximum at point S, maximum TP. Where TP is maximum, marginal production is 0. MP is equal to 0 at P point. So this is the second stage of production. This is third stage of production. And for the theory, we can write number 1, first stage. What does it represents? First stage, TP increases at an increasing rate. MP increases and becomes maximum at point N. This is the N point and MP is maximum. And AP increases. What does second stage represents? Second stage represents TP increases at a diminishing rate And what is the situation of AP? AP increases and becomes highest at point K, and here it intersects MP. AP increases, becomes maximum, intersect MP, and starts diminishing. And what is the position of MP? MP diminishes and becomes 0. MP diminishes and becomes 0. And what does the third stage represents? Third stage, TP starts diminishing, MP becomes negative, or AP diminishes. This was all about the 3 stages of production. And now let us write down some assumptions of this law. Number 1, short period concept. Number 2, no change in technology. Number 3, output or production can be measured. Number 4, units of variable factor or ratio can be changed. So these are some assumptions on which this law is based. If these assumptions are not fulfilled, then law will be failed. So we must follow these assumptions if we want to study the law of variable proportion. So that's all regarding this topic, and do subscribe the channel to see more laws related to production function. Thank you.